Here we go, boys. Let's get this show on the road. Let's get it going. Let's get it going. How you guys been, man? Papa Karma, back at you. Mike Strong, I have the weekend off. The game releases. Whew, man. It's a good feeling to have. So, Salties, right off the rip, I want to talk to you. I want to apologize because I actually didn't realize you had subbed last week. I'm not sure why I didn't get the notifications. I only realized that when I was setting up today's stream. And so, I feel like I want to apologize because I wanted to say thank you because I'm so grateful for everyone who watches or chats, let alone subscribes. So I definitely wanted to do that. And I even updated the alerts so that way I will never miss that again. So, thank you for thank you for the sub, and also thank you for bringing that to my attention inadvertently, so I can make sure that doesn't happen again. Everyone gets acknowledged for the help, the support. I mean, it's really just I'm so filled with gratitude that it's hard for me to convey that because I'm the kind of guy who has a hard time taking a compliment. So it's it is what it is. Endo, thank you so much for the follow, man. Welcome to the stream. If you want to chat, please feel free. If not, you want to lurk, that's all fine too. ISO Bendit, hearts, right back to you, man. Let's see here. Let's get everything going there. Hope you guys enjoyed the Alcoholic podcast this last weekend. Had a lot of fun getting that done, getting it ready. It was interesting to kind of get the math done on that in terms of how many episodes we have until launch. So we have 3 basically episodes until the next launch. So that's going to be fun. It's going to be fun to kind of count that down and just get that close to it and just finally get a chance to play the game, And right off the rip, I want to thank everybody for being here. I want to thank the channel supporters right here, down here in the section right here below. They're all listed out. Members on YouTube, Patreon. Just thank you so much for all that support. It helps make all this possible. Crazy Trick, hello, my name is Crazy. It's 1:30 a.m. So I guess I'm an alcoholic. Yes, I think that qualifies. Where you coming from, Crazy Trick? Where are you at? Where it's 1:30? Let's see. It's gonna put us out a few hours. So somewhere in Europe, probably. Let's see here. Skill tree. So Salty, something is coming. I can feel it in the air tonight. Ooh, got a little Phil Collins in you there, man. Dust in the wind. I feel like gear inflation is still a large problem that hasn't been addressed. Streamers on day 4 of the playtest had hordes of purple weapons, currency, and everything else. How does that work 2 weeks after launch, 1 month? If you stop caring about loot 2 weeks into the game, it turns into a headhunting battle royale and extraction element. I agree with you. I think if that happens, that's a bit of an issue. I think there's a lot of nerves on that because Embark haven't firmly detailed what they're doing in regards to that, and so that's kind of makes people worried, me included. I share your concern, but I think they're fully aware of that those hurdles that they have to overcome, right? And so I think here's my bold claim that you will not see an extraction shooter have mandatory wipes come out again. I don't think you're going to see that again. Because even Tarkov is going away with the wipes and going to prestiges. And so other developers will no longer have the excuse of saying, well, they're doing it, so therefore it must be something that players want. So I think you won't see that again. I think you're going to have to, devs are going to have to come up with creative solutions to that very serious problem. What that looks like, we have those discussions constantly on the channel, in the videos, the comment section, in our Discord. And so there's a lot of different ways I think the game could do it. I just think maybe people have held on to the idea of wipes for so long now that it feels heretical to say it can be done without it, Quenix, hello, how you doing, man? It's a crazy tick in Lithuania at the moment. Okay. Are you originally from there, or are you find yourself there for work or something? That's the one. Do you think that loot tables were juiced for the short playtest? Um, I didn't originally think so. Everything felt like it was, in a reasonable amount of things, but now that I'm looking at it, I'm looking back at it, I think maybe it was, I think maybe it was increased in some ways, maybe not in others, but like I don't I don't I don't think they were going to reduce the amount of metal parts they were going to find. Let's just put it that way. When it comes to those things, I think those things you'll probably end up seeing more of, but you'll probably end up seeing a lot less of like, purple items and such. So I think they were juiced, and also you have to consider that a lot of streamers that were playing, they were getting like the snap hooks to like cheese the key rooms, right? I know of at least one that was doing like 3 key rooms and like every single raid like on rotation. So I'm sure that probably helped juice the situation up a little bit. Corlex, hi, I'm good. Hey guys, welcome to the stream. Soldier, welcome to the stream, man. Salute, Gecko. Right back at you. Hope your week has been good since last week. I hope you guys enjoyed the podcast on the skill tree. Were there any questions you guys had? I'm not sure if anyone's seen the actual episode or not of Alcoholics where we went over the skill tree this last Sunday. What do you guys think? Would you have any comments you guys wanted to add to that? Questions? In terms of how the skill tree was handled. I feel like we had a really good, breadth of opinions on it that kind of gave it a good discussion. So, but maybe we missed something, Crazy Trick, yeah, I've spent most of my adult life working in London and New York, but I'm on a bit of a career break back at home in Little Lithuania. That must be nice. I'm assuming that means you have family in Lithuania and you're kind of being able to visit them at this point. JCZ, appreciate the podcast, Gecko. Good topic, that episode. I appreciate you, man. Thank you so much. I'm glad you liked it. Dust in the Wind, there are 55 nodes in each tree, so level 165 would max it out. I think someone said that there was like 100 points max somewhere in those lines, or no, there was a 60 points max or something like that. I don't know. I feel like we had a good conversation regarding that in terms of generally speaking, I think most people feel it would be better to not have to max it out, like just not like become a checkbox, just to like, it's if it's maxed out, it feels less impactful picking a particular branch. I feel like it would be better if you're like, all right, I only have so many points. How am I going to plan this out? I'm going to play it this way. And I felt like, of course, if they tighten up the branches a little bit more in terms of having a reason to go to one branch over another, like be highly specialized, and then allows you to kind of have that playthrough, that replay through essentially. I think that would be good, but I am positive that the skill tree will look nothing like what it did in the tech test for the release. I'm willing to spend good money on that bet, Thomas Marino, hey, right back at you, man. Sir Salty's 100% agree. Slug Sloth, what are your thoughts on the rumor of Battlefield BR releasing on 10/28? I mean, rumor, man, I honestly don't think that it's really relevant to Arc Raiders, to be perfectly honest. I think the Battlefield conversation has been done to death at this point. So here's my very quick basic take. Battlefield will compete with Arc Raiders in the sense that people only have so much money, people only have so much time. And so it's a big juggernaut of a game, and so inherently you're going to probably have some people peel away from Arc Raiders that are going to play Battlefield 6 in so far as they have friends who play there, and they have, I only have so much time in the day to play, and I want to play with my friends. My friends are going to play Battlefield 6, I'll end up playing Battlefield 6, and then I'll pick up Arc Raiders later. Something like that. That's probably the extent of the damage that Battlefield 6 will do to Arc Raiders, but in terms of like an actual like competitive, I'm going to pick one game over the other. They're very different games. So I think you're going to have people who play both, people who play one or the other, and there'll be plenty of people who are going to choose Arc Raiders over Battlefield. And I think there's probably plenty of people in this chat doing that too. Let's see here. Quakes, watching this gameplay, I'm still so pressed. I missed both playtests. I can't wait. Yeah, man. Dude, I have the luxury of having a lot of this stuff recorded, so I can kind of like reminisce I actually even have a playlist where I kind of like splice it all together, and I have it when I'm running on the treadmill. When I'm running, I'll just like listen to that, and I'll just like watch it play out as I'm running, because otherwise I'll get bored. So I can watch this stuff over and over again and be content for a while. Sir Salty's, as long as a way to reset your tree, yeah, of course. I think it's got to be meaningful, but you also have to kind of have some forgiveness in that. Creative trick, yeah, it's my parents and extended family. Taking care of some stuff back home and taking it easy. Dude, that must be so nice, man. Family's always good. I have family out in Portugal, and whenever I get a chance to visit them, it's always just such a blessing. 16 Killer, how you think they're going to roll this out promotion campaign? But I'm kind of done guessing at this point, because they have shown that they don't do what the norm is, and so maybe they don't need. Maybe they don't need to do the norm. I think we discussed this on the podcast the other day, where I wouldn't be surprised if we saw like a free weekend. Like if it was, they would release it, and if it were me, I would release it, give it like a week or two so you can kind of like hot patch any fixes that need to happen, let the buzz kick up again like it did before during tech test, and then at like maybe 2 weeks in, have like a free weekend, and at that point all your buddies are gonna be like, dude, you gotta try this game out, it's free, blah blah blah, and then have people get hooked, and then like 2 days later, boom, $40 purchases going in. I'd be kind of part of it, but obviously you're gonna have your streamers playing and all that kind of good jazz. So I think it's gonna be weird, because Embark has shown that they don't really do things normally, so it's really hard for me to predict that. Let's see here. Things gonna play just as smooth as it looks too. I have a tactical third-person experience. Yeah, I mean, like Sarge Salties was saying, man, is like, and also the game plays smooth as hell too. Like you look at what happened with Borderlands, is like they came out and it was just like a hot mess in terms of his performance. I think from what I hear, they've hot fixed a lot of that, but it's like, I don't know, man. That game has a budget that's up teen times, that of Arc Raiders, and they can come out, having poor performance. I don't know. Thomas Marino, what you think could be improved in Arc Raiders? The armor system, probably. The armor system probably could be improved. I think it's a little minimal. If you look at, like, I'm actually gonna have a video coming out this weekend coming up, where I'm talking about, like, if you compare how Arc Raiders does weapons versus how it does armor. Like weapons, you have like you have gray, green, blue, purple, gold, all that funky stuff. And then you have like upgrades in between all that, and you have attachments that you can add all that. That's great. Then you have like guns like the Rattler or like the Stitcher with like sufficient upgrades and sufficient attachments can like go to toe to toe with guns that are like blue or what have you. Meanwhile, you have armor. It's like, all right, there's green, it's light. There's blue, there's medium, and there's purple. That's heavy. That's it. So I feel like there's a lot of room there. If you literally just copy what you did with the armor over to the weapons, you'd have a lot more depth. That's what I would do. That's probably where I'd start, at least. In terms of the end game, I'm like, well, I made a whole video on clans and all that kind of stuff. That's basically I would do that too. But just improving what I've seen so far, I think it's in a really great spot to where I feel like anything else I'd be nitpicking. Let's see here, Soldier. I'm ready to see Arc Raider pre-order bonus. Me too, man. I'm trying to throw money at this place, man. I'm trying to throw money at Embark. I'm like, dude, come on, give me a reason to spend some money. Kohei Sheesh, that's good to hear. I've watched like too much YouTube on it at this point and everything about it. Might have accidentally learned some of the maps from videos to a degree. I mean, dude, like there's like 10,000, probably like 10,000 plus hours of gameplay on YouTube right now, which is kind of like when I saw like the concept art, I was just kind of like, I think we're a little past this at this point, but I understand what they're doing. It's kind of like little tidbits here and there, and along with other stuff. So, it's I'm not sure if you guys are picking up the squeaking in the back. I got a new dog and he's going wild right now. Andreas, what do you think about the music of Arc Raiders? I think it fits really well. I think it's one of those things where it's not like the finals where it's a little more high energy because it's a different kind of vibe. But like with the Arc Raiders, whenever they have that vibe, like you feel like in this eerie, futuristic, setting, and this really kind of just it fits the vibe, and just like the normal sound effects, it sets the tone, which I really appreciate. All right, Justin the Wind, do you think we'll see higher price editions outside of $40? 100%. Yeah, I think we'll see editions being like you'll probably see a $50 version, $60 version, maybe even $80 version. I would not doubt. I would, and I honestly wouldn't be shocked if it was like a $100 version. Just depends on like what they would add to it. To me, it's more of like how much value is it going to add, right? Like if for $100 I'm going to get like the game plus a bunch of cosmetics, a bunch of other things, plus like an actual like queen figurine I can put on my desk. Oh, bet I'm making that. I'm doing that. All right, see here. I can't wait for this game anymore. Bradley Freeze, me man, dude. You're gonna have to. Sorry. Slick Sloth, yeah, I agree with that. I played plenty of BRs over the years, and I'm 100% playing Arc Raiders over Battlefield BR. There's nothing like AR or Arc Raiders. Since I played the last tech test, nothing else hits the same. Dude, that's been the same for me ever since I started playing the game back in 2023. And if you don't know, like, for those of us who played in 2023, you basically got nothing for a year and a half. Like, imagine that. Like, you got nothing for a year and a half. Whereas here, like, at least you get a release date. You know for sure you're going to get it again. You know, feels a little better. Not much better, but it still feels better. You know, you're at this point, I'm better off writing scripts than I am playing another game at this point, because it just doesn't hit right. You know? Quahex, I try to avoid pre-orders in general, but I will literally buy this day one if possible to buy. I mean, yeah, generally speaking, I don't like pre-orders for a lot of reasons. That's probably the same reason that you guys don't like them. But in this particular case, I think I can rightfully say Embark has kind of earned your faith at this point. Like, they've done justice to everything they've put to their energy into. And so I feel like when you have developers that act that way and consistently they consistently deliver in that manner, you don't feel bad doing those kinds of things, you know? Joko, welcome to the chat. Do you think our Raiders will run a pre-order since we're so close to release? Yeah, of course they're going to run pre-orders. I think I made my prediction they're going to run pre-orders before September 30th, because September 30th is the end of the fiscal quarter. And if they can show a certain amount of like pre-orders during the end of the fiscal quarter reporting for their like, you know, shareholders, I think that'll be a good thing. So if I wanted to game the system that way, that's what I'd be doing. But like, then again, like I said before, Embark ain't the usual suspects in terms of how they're going to do things. So, you know. Zero Salties, yep, doing that. 16 Killer, with all the content out there in the game, I'm still surprised it's only 20% of the game. Yeah, I mean, I think to think on that, it might be only 20% of the game, but it's probably the most polished 20% of the game. And what I believe what they did is during tech test, they figured out, okay, we have this much game, right, left to do. Let's see if we can kind of like pinpoint when we can finish it. So they polished this much of the game, put it out, and they're like, all right, this works really well. Okay, now that we figured out how long it took for us to polish this portion of the game, we now have a map on how much it would take to polish the rest of it. And they calculated, they came up with October 30th. That's probably what they went about doing, if I had to guess. Let's see here. Creature Eye, what's up, homie? Yeah, how you doing, man? I'm glad to see you coming by. Hope you're enjoying the stream, and hope you enjoyed the Arcaholics episode on Sunday. Sir Salties, what kind of dog you get? It was it's kind of like a chocolate lab mix. I got her from a shelter, so she's still pretty young, so 7 months. So we're gonna do some training here and there. I gotta do some of that as soon as the stream is over. So kind of get her behaved, so to speak. But you know, she's a sweetheart, so it's not that hard. Frag Gaming, hey Gecko, I was so hyped for Arc Raiders, but I didn't think I can get the game at launch anymore. 2 days ago, my Steam ID was hacked, and the hacker stole my Steam wallet balance. Rough, man. I am probably gonna watch your videos. You know what? Hopefully, I can do it justice. You know. As Creature Eye, I spoil a lot for myself watching the YouTube info dump right before the tech test because I didn't think I would get in. Then I did. I mean, I did the same thing, but only because I'm like a fiend. You know, because it changed so much since tech test 1 to tech test 2 that I saw some things. I'm like, oh my god, I want to know about all this, you know. And so I watched all that too. So just the one. Can you talk about the tech test prior to the last one, heard it was bad. I can tell you it wasn't bad. None of the tests I've ever had with Arc Raiders has been bad, but unfortunately, I cannot tell you much more than that. I think a lot of people who were saying it was bad, I'm not sure why they would say that. That'd probably be a conversation I like to have, but unfortunately, that would be an NDA thing as well. So, kind of a catch-22 situations. Like, I would love to have that conversation and defend that my position when it's saying that it wasn't bad, but at the same time, it don't matter. We're gonna get a release on October 30th, anyways. But I can honestly say though, every time I've played a test for Arc Raiders, I've been impressed, like every single time, right? But that's probably because I don't know. I feel like coming from the Cycle Frontier, my experiences are different than people who are coming from like say Tarkov or whatever. Like for me, the reason why it was so good for me, the feeling I had in 2023 was like, okay, they're basically doing everything that Cycle did well, and they got rid of all the things that they didn't do. They did it poorly, And I feel like that's kind of like that was the trick for me in terms of getting me really involved. Spinner Shield, man, welcome to the stream. Hope you're doing well. Colonel Shaman, the finals is underrated. 100%, it's underrated, man. I think we're gonna see that sucker climb even more. JCZ, the new finals destruction seems a big step. Yeah, you know what's funny, because it was rated the best in the industry in terms of like environmental destruction, and they still felt the need to push it further, which to me is a great hallmark of a great leadership team. Where it's like, hey, we can we have the best in the market. We have the best, environmental destruction. Do it better, and that's the kind of their mindset, and I can really appreciate that. That's a leadership thing. That's a someone up top going like, can you make that better? And then someone's probably in the coding going like, we can probably make that better. Can you give me the resources, the time, and the people that I need in order to make that better? And then leadership greens lights it, because it would be very easy for leadership to be like, no, we already had the best. We already had the best. Spend your time doing something else. But they didn't. They're like, no, what? Make that happen. And so I think it's a great hallmark for leadership in a company. Arc Raiders pre-order should be a robot. You have a robot that is controlled via app and patrols the house at schedule. Dude, a Roomba, like with like a robot skin. Spooner Shield, always great to get another Alcoholics episode. You bet it, man. We got about 3, give or take, between now and release. Think about that. How many episodes we've been through? We got 3 more until release. Of course, we're going to keep doing it after the release too, but now we get to actually talk about the game. Like what's new. Right? Oh, and the discussion about the skill tree was very in-depth. I'm glad you liked it. If you have any questions regarding it in terms of like more to add, I'd love to talk about that. Because I feel like we were not really pressed for time, but it's like I feel like we had a lot to add, and we were trying to keep it in an hour. So it's certainly, I felt like it was I think both Louvre and Rockhound Black and myself had a good varied amount of opinions and concerns that kind of were able to make a good episode out of it. So I was happy with that. Other than bad audio, the audio thing, hopefully I fixed that for the next episode. So which by the way, how's the audio coming in now, guys? I'm trying to figure out if it's like too much, too little, gain, and things like that. So I'm kind of fiddling with that stuff. It's always been my weak point, unfortunately. Creature Eye, are you and Rockhound planning on teaming up for some streams after release? I'm certainly open to that. Obviously, with him being in New Zealand, it makes it a little bit difficult in terms of timing, but that's definitely something we're gonna be open to. Qual Hicks, did you ever play Tarkov? I have not played Tarkov. And here's the reason why, right? So it changed over time, right? And for me, it was basically I wasn't into extraction shooters, so I was like, hey, I'm not into extraction games, losing things when you die, all that kind of good jazz, right? So that's why I didn't get into Hunt. And then the Cycle Frontier came out, and I'm more amenable to science fiction based games, anyways. And I got into the beta, one of the early betas. Me and my son got into one of the early betas, and so we tried it, and I was hooked, just hooked hard, right? And fast forward playing the Cycle Frontier for, I don't know, 6-7 months. I definitely at that point was like, you know what? I didn't give these other games a try. Maybe I should give these other games a try. And that's right around the time when that one video got viral about, you know, hackers in Tarkov. And so at that point, I bought Hunt. I played Hunt for a little bit. Any other game that had any kind of extraction-esque type mechanics, I tried to jump into. And one of the reasons that kind of kept me away from Tarkov, even past the hacker point thing, was I wasn't a big fan of getting popped out of nowhere, from like the things that I did not like about the Cycle Frontier were the things where like I got killed instantly out of nowhere and had no time to react. Now, I know enough about Tarkov. I think most people know enough about Tarkov. That's a very real thing that's bound to happen because you're just going to get one tapped out of nowhere. You know, it's a very real possibility and it's likely, right? It's one of those things where it's bound to happen, right? And so that's a very big thing for me in terms of like, hey, no reaction time, instant time to kill. All right. And this other thing that I didn't particularly care for was that there was no friendly indicators. And so for me, it was, that was a big hurdle for me. But I did try to overcome this prejudice a little bit. I got into gray zone warfare. All right. I had a group to play with, and, you know, got pretty, you know, involved in that game. And I played that game for a while. And those same issues kept cropping up. And despite me actively trying to get over those issues, couldn't do it. It felt more like work than it was like playing a game, right? And so, fast forward from there, I played Arena Breakout for a little bit. And for me, that game, it solved the whole not having friendly indicators for me, but not the getting insta-gibbed out of nowhere. And so for me, I kind of realized, okay, the realistic milsim shooter type thing is not for me in an extraction game. And so knowing all of that now, right, someone might say, well, you don't know Tarkov unless you try it. Well, knowing all that now about me in terms of what I like, what I don't like, I don't think it really makes sense for me to spend money on Tarkov at this point. Right? Like, it's going to be what it is. People love it. They're going to play it the way they want. If they like it and it's for them, fantastic. I would never want to like say, well, Tarkov needs to fix XYZ for my sake so I can play the game. No. The game's been around for a really long time. People love the way it is. Let Tarkov stay Tarkov. Let's see here. Splinter Shield, how long was the Cycle Frontier online? Oh, I lost that there. Splinter Shield, how long was Cycle Frontier online? I think it was on for about a year, like officially live. When it was released in June, and it was announced shut down a little bit before that in a year. And its servers officially shut down on September the following year. So it was like only pretty much live a year. You know, so I definitely enjoyed the pod. It was a great topic. I think they made the skill tree the way it was because it was such a short term. I think it'll be different on release. Just feeling, I agree. I think it's not gonna look anything like it is now or it did in tech test. For more longevity, you know. Cracks. Yeah, that makes sense. I personally enjoyed that, but Tarkov took a direction that I haven't agreed with for a while. Still sunk 4K hours though. Yeah, it'd be like that sometimes though. Is people have a hard time letting go. And you know, your story is not all that dissimilar from what I've heard before. Like whenever I hear, like it's a fairly common thing that I've seen that Tarkov players will say it took a direction that they didn't appreciate. And let me know if you fall into this category. A lot of people, from what I've seen, they say that it was more about the missions and the immersion, and then it flipped being more about the PvP portion of it and kind of pushing that pace for that at a certain point, and it kind of became less about the immersion factor of it. That pretty much sum that up for you? Let's see here. All right. So we're done with this particular video. Let's go to another one. Let's find another raid to look up again. go to this one. You know what? Let's full screen this sucker. Let's do that. Let y'all enjoy that while we're just chatting around, you know? Alright. Multi-chat. Let's move that. Looks like we can probably move that up here. Move that up here. Let's see. You're destined to win. Where did you get that light behind you? I don't have a light behind me. I have a light to my right here, and I have a green screen behind me. But yeah. So in terms of the setup that I got going on, right? Got a green screen behind me. I do have some really great natural light in the video or in the room I'm in right now. So I have a window like right above me, so that's actually where a big chunk of my lighting is coming from. But in terms of making sure that the green screen is properly lit, I got a light right over here. I think you're probably going to see some of it kind of right over here. And then another one right up here to kind of like make sure I'm not like underexposed in a lot of ways, you know. Oh, the Arc Raider lights. Ah! Though that's actually green screen, my friend. That's actually green screen effects. That's actually the logo from one of the Arc Raider logos in terms of I just boiled it down and put it behind me as a part of the green screen. So shoot, man, I wish I had some lights like that, man. I know they have it on Reddit somewhere. Some guy made lights like that for his computer desk, so that was pretty cool. Quahex, personally, I think it should have worked harder towards incentivizing PvP more, as those core moments of getting out of a fight is what I loved, but I know I might be in the minority to the more casual player base. Yeah, I mean, I like PvP generally speaking in extraction games, and so to me, I don't think having PvP and immersion are mutually exclusive ideas, right? I think you can have both. It's just a matter of how you do it. Creature Eye, that's my biggest fear with Ark. I don't want it to just devolve into strictly PvP hunt fest. I love the PvP, but I love it as part of the whole experience. It's a great example. It's a great way of looking at it. And I'd be inclined to say it probably won't. The issues though is that I brought up in my clans video, I think when you're going to be in a situation where you're going to start having people that have everything they need, they're going to go out and just hunt for players. Right, and so you need to find a way to funnel that, and I feel like clans is the way to do that. You know, so I think that will be a concern, but I think Embark can probably address that. Soldier, I love these environments and sound. The first developers to master Unreal Engine 5, right? You know, it's like it's amazing what a level of competency will do to a game's performance, right? And it's just like, if you consider like Unreal Engine 5 has been around for a while now. There's been plenty of games that have used it, but it's kind of a meme at this point that Unreal Engine 5 just doesn't run well. I don't think it's the engine's fault. I think it's basically, as someone pointed out, back in the day, you had to go to school, you had to like learn how to code and get official certifications and like learn these really hard systems that were not user friendly. You had to learn them really, really well, and so, in a lot of ways, the people who made games back then were very different than the people who make games now. Like, it's way less. I don't know. It's harder. It would be hard to get yourself in the door because the skill gap was just so big in terms of learning how to make basic ass stuff. Now you have engines and you have all these tools that help players or developers make games much more efficiently in terms of time. But like someone pointed out, probably in another generation of developers, you're not going to have developers who have even remotely basic skills to be able to fix things when they break. Because if there's not a solution that the Unreal Engine has for them, then they're not going to know what to do with it. And so, but like, if you look at the pedigree that Embark has in terms of the developers they have in-house, oh man, like they could have made this game without Unreal Engine 5. They could have probably done it. But Unreal Engine 5 for them is a tool. It's not a crutch. And I think it shows in the product. You know? Yeah, JCZ. Yeah, I saw that post. It was actually really cool. The lights on the desks. Creature Eye, once you run out of quests and fill your stash, player hunting seems to be all that's left. And that's fine, but I hope they keep adding things to engage. I hope so too. I hope there are more things to engage with, like events. I can easily see them adding events that occur in a raid that's like it forces everybody to kind of come towards a specific spot and be like, hey, this vault got opened, or this, that, or the other, or something got done. And so it kind of helps people kind of like congregate in that kind of way, as opposed to just roaming around pushing shots. You know, that's the one thing that I found that was rather annoying about the Cycle Frontier, is that like it became very quick for people to simply just go, all right, I'm gonna drop down and push shots and call it there. You know. Let's see. Qualix, do you think it would ever play with viewers? Just curious. Yeah, of course. I mean, I have a Discord. It's right there in the links below. You know, we have discussions. I'm gonna put together. I'm gonna be putting together events in regards to the launch day, playing with viewers, things of that nature. So it's gonna be fun. You know, I want to create an environment where we can all engage with one another and have people that are both knowledgeable and skillful in the game, and being able to kind of like help people come into the game and be part of that and grow within that. Because the reason why I even got started in content creation to begin with was because I felt the Cycle Frontier did such a horrible job in introducing new players to the genre that I made guide videos for it. The very first video I made was a fight guide, because there was nothing even remotely like that on YouTube at that point in time, which I felt like, well, if you just learn how to fight a little bit better, you'll enjoy this game a lot better. And I kind of just went on from there. And that's fast forward, here I am. And I feel like creating that again in Arc Raiders, in terms of an environment where people can come in, hey, I really like this game, but it's not necessarily a genre that I'm really into, so I need a little bit of help. And then boom, come on in and we'll be part of the fold. Fast forward a few months and they'll probably be looking just like everybody else. Spinner Shield UE5 doesn't run well. I mean, that's kind of the meme. I'm not a coder, but like just based off of what everyone's experience has been with regards to other games, it just feels like whenever a game is running on UE5, don't expect great performance. You know, me, fortunately, I genuinely have a pretty good rig, so a lot of the time I can just muscle my way past that. But you know, some people have the opposite experience. Right? Can't wait for the first episode of Arcaholics after the game comes out. Def gonna be watching that at work. Yeah, man, it's gonna be a whole other vibe. I'll tell you that right now. It's gonna be a whole other vibe. Instead of being like, well, we don't know about this game and this part of the thing, we think it's just gonna change, blah, blah, blah. It's gonna be like, this game is freaking amazing. That's probably what it's gonna be. It's gonna be like that for like 30 minutes. This game's amazing. You're gonna hear that over and over again for like 30 minutes probably. JCZ, people commonly say UE5 doesn't run well, but Arc Raiders shows it's an expertise issue. Yeah, I think that's what it comes down to. I think it's a little deeper than that too. I think it's a great tool set, but for people who actually know how to use tools. That's the thing, that people actually know how to use tools, but also know how to work without them. You know? Old Dutch, how much is this game going to cost? When will pre-orders start? Old Dutch, thank you so much for coming into the chat. Appreciate you watching. $40. I think that's Smegma, I answered your question there. Creature Eye, some developers don't know how to optimize UE5. Yeah, that's pretty much what it is. I think it just comes down to just, like, UE5 is supposed to make things easier for you, not do things for you. And I think that's the key difference. And I think if you're a developer who knows how to code just raw or just better than, or just without it, having it there is helpful, right? It's kind of like driving, right? It's like if I want to get from point A to point B, being able to know where point A and point B are at is important. Being able to walk from point A to point B is important. Being able to run from point A to point B is important. Ride your bike from point A to point B is important. If I just handed you a car and you didn't know how to do any of that, sure, you might be able to drive from point A to point B. But what happens when things break? So like, I can't believe that guy didn't die. I swear to God. Like, I'm just looking at that thing again. Like, how did that guy survive? But I think that's what it comes down to. Like in an analogy, like basically, like you have a bunch of developers who are handed cars, and they're like, "All right, cool, I can zoom, I can do this and all that stuff." And then suddenly something breaks. You're like, "I don't know, get out and push, man." Soldier, I hope Arc Raiders have massive events or raids to notify everyone to come take down the king or queen. I think you're gonna see. I think you're gonna see the events be a little bit more specific in that regard. Yo, is the game out yet? No, brother. The game is not out yet. Unfortunately, it's October 30th. Yeah. So the release date is set for October 30th. All right. Welcome to the chat, though. We're just watching old footage. We're having a chat about the game. Thanks so much for coming by. Hang out, make some friends. We got Discord as well. We're chilling. Listen to Win. You should release gameplay videos of Ark if you haven't released everything already. See, the funny thing about that is that, for one, half of my videos don't have audio, right? Because when I was recording, this was right after Marathon, and I had to mess up so many settings in my recording to get that game to work and record properly, that when I went switched over to Arc Raiders, it wasn't all that banged up. So a lot of my earlier raids just did not have any audio or anything like that. So that's unfortunate. That's half my videos right there. The other one is that, generally speaking, a lot of times they're not that interesting, to be honest. They're pretty run of the mill. And, generally speaking, they don't really do that well. Like, if you actually look at my channel, if you look at the videos that I put out for Arc Raiders, the vast majority of them, are topics, the podcasts, things like that. But if you look at the ones specifically on gameplay, those are the ones that do the absolute worst. And so in a lot of ways, it's kind of told me that the market basically has told me, people aren't really interested. And so I might release it for members, though. I think that might be something that, I can just put on there and just kind of like upload it and call it a day. But I to me, that feels a little lazy in terms of like, here's a raw recording, boom. And I don't know. I feel like my gameplay is not as good as what else is out there. And so in a lot of ways, maybe I'm overthinking it, but let's see here. Let's look for something else. Let's do that one. Let's see here. Paysky, man, welcome to the chat, man. Appreciate you coming by. Thank you so much for your support. You've talked about stash size quite a bit before, but I'm curious what exactly the size you would want it would be. Where should the stash size start? How much size increase per upgrade, etc. I feel like the tech test did a good job of that. I feel like it once it was maxed out, I felt like that was a good pace. I don't know. It felt good. I feel like the exactness of stash sizes can be kind of hit and miss. It should definitely feel like if you're a new player that's picking up everything and you don't know what to hold on to, it shouldn't feel suffocating. And when you upgrade it, it should be. I think the Cycle Frontier did a really great job on that one when they came to the upgrades. Is that they basically made it so your first upgrades did a lot, and then afterwards you only get marginal increases, and the price would be exponentially higher. So at that point, you've got all the money in the world, all the resources. At that point, it's like, a little bit here and there, and plus now you know what to pick up, what to hold on to. So. Toby Davis, understand the analogy. Good choice. Going balls deep on Arc Raiders instead of Marathon. I mean, I always was. I always was a big Arcaholic. Having played the game back in 2023, I knew instantly this would be my game. Instantly. And unfortunately, I was tortured for a year and a half by not being able to play it. So, there was that. So this has been a long time coming, man. This has been a long time. Marathon was always intriguing to me. Um, but and the interesting thing was, I honestly was kind of when the marathon thing was rolling up, I was actually kind of worried that marathon was going to eat up arc raiders because it's Bungie, it's like all the makers of Destiny and Halo and all that, like oh man they're gonna make an extraction shooter, but like once we saw the game, I realized nah, that's no, that's definitely not going to be happening. So I was both happy and sad. I was happy that the game that I really cared for, Arc Raiders, was gonna likely be coming out on top and actually gonna be not threatened really at all. But I was kind of sad because like having another extraction game to play, that's fun too. Like having those options, as long as they play differently. Uh, so hopefully they can pull it. Hopefully they can pull themselves together on that one. Honestly, man, I'm rooting for them, but I don't know. As long as they keep going down that hero shooter mode, man, I'm not having high hopes for them, to be perfectly honest. Soldier, Gecko, do you think we'd be able to mix and match cosmetics like the final skins are? Dude, I certainly hope so, man. I think the funny thing about it is that's probably one of the consistent critiques that the game has had since day one. Like since Tech Test 2, everyone's falling in love with the game. Everyone's just juiced about the game. That is the one thing that has been the consistent complaint about it. I don't see why not, right? Like they did that for the finals, right? So I feel like the way they pulled off the skins just now was probably just for tech test purposes. I don't see any reason to have it be so restrictive when we've seen what they've done in the finals. Like, I would be shocked. Like, I honestly would be really shocked if we still ended up with a skin type situation that we did in Tech Test 2 instead of something more that looks more like the final. I'd be shocked. Especially considering how gifted these they are. Like, we've just finished talking about, like, how skillful they are in terms of, like, UE5, UE5 optimization, as well as, like, the destructible terrain. And, like, we just, for the last hour, we've been talking about just Embark's praises and how skillful they are as a company in terms of, like, good leadership, coding, things like that. So I would be, again, shocked if we didn't get skin customization like we do in the finals. Old Dutch, everyone I know is locked into Borderlands 4 Battlefield, yet I can't stop thinking about this game. Can't wait to play this game. Oh, well, I mean, marketing does its job. If people are locked into Borderlands and Battlefield 6 and things of that nature, it's like marketing is doing its job. Marketing is going to market, But I think this game will sell itself. I think that's the difference. I think this game doesn't require. It's going to be marketing, of course, to do well, to let people know that the game exists. But you play this game even a little bit, dude. Like, for those of you who are in the chat who have not played the game yet, you do not know the addiction that's about to hit you. Like, I'm warning you right now. You have no idea the level of addiction that's about to slap you in the face. Because it's nothing like playing the game. I'll tell you that right now. Because, like, if you look at the screen right now, right, anyone who's never done any kind of recording will tell you the video never looks as good as the recording. Right? I want you to bear that in mind. The video never looks as good as the recording. Right? So, think about that for a second. Creature Eye, most intense raid solo on Buried City. Enough said. Anyways, free loadout, found a dog collar for Scrappy. No safe pocket. Oh, man. Been looking for 3 days. Found it right in the beginning of the raid. I have to get out now. Dude. Yeah. Dude. Thus in the win, I was way more hyped for Marathon than Arc Raiders. Played Marathon and was so turned off, I don't even care anymore after playing Tech Test 2 and Arc. Yeah, that's a sad thing, It's... Creature Eye played Marathon. It was not fun. It was like Apex Legends with extraction mode. The raids played a lot like a second to last circle of BR. Yeah, man, that's the thing. It's like, I don't know. It just feels sad, right? Like, there's so much potential, right? If you think about, like, the Marathon universe, right? Like, Jake the Alright, he's a content creator. If you guys haven't heard of him, I would highly recommend looking him up. Jake the Alright, he had me on his show prior to the marathon, all that stuff going on, just to talk about extraction shooters, right? And he's a very big marathon lore guy. If you look at a lot of his content, talks about lore and the story behind it, right? Like it's just like there's a lot of depth in that story. There's so much potential there that I feel like is just being pissed away with the current game that I've seen in terms of the marathon like test that we saw, you know. Toby Davis, I messed around with 3D design, Dust in the Wind, can't confirm, can't wait to play again. Yeah. Toby Davis, I chose a topic to use as learning. I'll make something Gecko related. Ha. Hopefully it's shows me in a good light. Soul Drive, 35 hours in tech test 2. Yes. I unfortunately did not get to do that much. I had previous obligations, so I wasn't able to play the game for almost like a day and a half, 2 days of the test, and they happened to be towards the later end of it, which makes it even worse. But I, between all the tests, I have about, I think it's like 85, almost 100 hours at this point, somewhere in there, on the game. So I've enjoyed every bit of it too. It feels like I barely touched the game too. Anonymous Materials, I think there is hope for a marathon. There's still time for Bungie to pull it off well. Of course. Smijma, thank you so much for the follow, man. Appreciate you. I think I think the way I put it is that the marathon has potential, right? It has the potential to become a great game, just like Arc Raiders. Here's the issue, right? If we were to switch the developers from Embark to Bungie, if we were to just swap all the people from one company to the next, you're going to get those results, right? The label on front of the building does not mean squat at the end of the day. It means what the actual people who are working there. And do I think Marathon has potential? Absolutely. Do I believe that the people who are currently working on it have the ability, not just coding wise, but also the leadership and the permission from their producers or shareholders, whatever, to do what needs to be done in order to make that game great? Call me skeptical, man. So I hope, but yeah. Creature Eye Marathon solo did not feel viable, and playing with randoms was terrible. Yeah, and no one community. That's part of the game that was also harmful to the game, is that like think about that, right? Like someone's making a extraction game, and they are making it basically impossible to play solo. That's not a wise decision, right? And you could say like, well, it's balancing from the classes or the heroes or whatever the hell they want to call it. I don't care. Like that's gonna be the short answer. I don't care. Like too many people play these games solo, it often enough that you need to make solo viable. You need to. There's no way around. Same thing for proxy chat. Like how dare you try to come into this market where proxy chat is a thing for basically every single extraction title, and you're like, nah, we're not gonna do it. The balls on them. It's. Let's see here. Creature Eye, have you seen Exoborn? That game actually looks like a good time. I don't think it will be as good as Ark, but it will be give it a go personally. Yeah, I got into the test. It started today actually, but the problem is that it's under NDA, so I can't share anything with you guys. It's a fun game. I think it has potential, more potential than Marathon, to be frank. It plays different enough from Ark that I feel like both could exist together. But I think it still has a ways to go based off of the non-NDA gameplay that I played and I made a video on. It's got some time. It's going to need some development. And so I think it has potential at the end of the day. Let's see here. Dust in the Wind solo in Ark was insanely tense. Night Raids felt like a horror game at times. Dude, those Night Raids, I feel bad not playing more Night Raids while I had the chance. Honestly. That was fun. Those were some fun. That changed the game immensely for me. Toby Davis, I feel like in a week or two, once the promo for finals Season 8 dies down, they'll go balls deep on Arc. Yeah, for marketing, I think we're gonna see that soon. We're gonna see a blitz on that sucker soon. Unlost materials. I love solo Arc Raiders. I just think Marathon needs the same type of solo queue. Yeah, it does. Point blank. Like, they need to figure that out. Supposedly when they were doing interviews for people who were playing at their, exclusive creator test at their home office, they're supposed to be playing a solo mode. Like, oh, let's go play a solo mode and try to figure out, like, what that would look like, yada yada. And everyone basically picked the guy who could cloak. Everyone picked the exact same character, and so, or the vast majority of them did. And so to me, that tells me, like, all right, you obviously have not built this game to be viable as a solo player. So I don't know. I think the reason why I'm not too confident in their ability to pull it off is because there are too many fundamental game decisions that are hard to correct. These are not superficial things, and so that's probably why I don't have a great. I don't have high hopes. I hope I'm wrong, but that's pretty much where I stand on that. Art, did you test Exoborn? Their closed beta test just started today. It will be like 2 weeks. Yeah, I played it multiple times. I played during the last NDA test as well. It's just in terms of time, like, I gotta stay focused on terms of making content and playing games. And at a certain time, I balance my family life too, man. I got to spend time with wife, son. Just not be glued to the computer all the time too. So it's like, I only got so many hours of the day. So if I'm gonna play a game for fun, which is basically what a game someone with NDA would be to me. Because here's the thing, how much can it really change between this test and the last test and then the test before that? It's like, so for the most part, until I have something to report, I don't know. It feels like I kind of got the gist of the game. Toby Davis, have a good night. Get going back to work. All right, man. You have a good rest of your day. Creature Eye, I agree about Exoborn. I feel both games can exist, like COD and Battlefield, different experiences. I think maybe old Battlefield, not current Battlefield. That's for sure. But I get what you're trying to say. It's like, I would probably liken it more to, what would be a good analogy? Like Halo and COD. That's what I would look at it. Like Halo and COD. Those are, at that point, that would be very drastically different experiences. So that's how I feel the difference would be. Creature Eye, I agree about anomalous materials. They should just remove the cloaking ability. I wish they would just tear out all the heroes should design. Yeah, I agree, man. And that's kind of my point. Like, that kind of design has been baked into the game for a bit. And so, Alex Warren, do you recognize the art posted today from any of the previous maps? The art posted today seemed like it came out of Dam, to be honest. There's a section on Dam that's on the southern part of it where there's a lot of trees, cliffside, and a lot of broken cars. So the most recent picture they put up together, it feels like Dam. JCZ, yeah, current Battlefield, it was so much closer to COD. Yeah, I mean, I'm willing to acknowledge that maybe the franchises I've aged out of those franchises. I'm willing to acknowledge that possibility. And I find funny whenever I see memes about, like, oh, I was young, I played Battlefield 3, that's kind of like my true to form, blah, blah, blah. And it's like, brother, that's me as an adult, been married, 10 plus years, have a son, Battlefield 3. For me, Battlefield peak was Battlefield 2. For a variety of reasons. And I could be just saying that because of the fact that I am nostalgic for those times of my life. But I can articulate the differences between the designs differences between Battlefield 2 and then Battlefield 3 and then so forth. Right? And to me, I don't know, it's a whole different vibe at that point. Anonymous Material found a really cool game on Steam called Void Breaker. It's kind of like single player roguelite marathon with destructible environments. Yeah, sounds cool. Not my cup of tea, to be perfectly honest. It's it's very rare for me to get involved in like a single player or even a co-op game. It comes down to pattern recognition after a while. So without a PvP experience, it gets kind of samey after a while, you know? Same, but different. Something like that, you know? Louvre, man, welcome to the stream, man. How you been, brother? Hey, guys, let's get some hype. It's Louvre from the Alcoholics podcast. Let's get some hype in the chat. This boy is a big part of the community here. We enjoy having him out, and he adds so much to the conversation. And it's actually kind of impressive how much he's able to add to the conversation, considering that he hasn't played Arc Raiders yet. So like that's particularly also that's extra impressive. So Lou, it's funny you say that. I was just talking with someone and realized they were 10 years younger than me and meant the other, Modern Warfare 2, right? Right? It's weird to think about when people have not had the same cultural experiences, as you. It's Lou stopping by before heading out to get a beer with the wife. Always a good time. Always a good time. I appreciate you. Thank you so much for coming by, man. I hope you have a great night. Alex Warren, Dam's trees weren't all that tall or skinny. I also don't remember the railway either. I mean, in the southern area they were. In the southern area, it was very, very foresty, and the trees did feel tall. So it was in the south part of it. Oh yeah, this is where I get my ass beat by a bison. So that was fun. I realized this was the map. This was the time I realized, oh, you cannot outrun a bison. So that was a good time. Anonymous Materials, how many maps do we think Arc Raiders will have? 4? I think Dustin the Win, I think Arc Raiders launches with 4 maps and a snow map added before the end of the year. I think 4 for sure. Right? Whether or not it will launch with the 5th, I don't know. I think 4. I think 4 will be it, right? Soldier Life, too hype. So yeah, 16 kilo might be Blue Gate. Yeah, Blue Gate is definitely going to be the 4th. There might be a 5th, but let's not to get too ahead of ourselves on this one in terms of what could possibly be there and be ready. Because remember, these guys have shown themselves to be perfectionists in terms of what they feel is ready and what it isn't ready. So even if they have maybe a 5th or a 6th one, like close to being ready, I think we're gonna see 4, and I think it's a safe bet for 4. Ryzen Borderland, I am not playing, man. This is old footage. This is old footage, man. We're chilling. We're having a chat. We're chilling out, playing. We're out talking about Arc Raiders and just watching old footage, reminiscing. Rise in Borderland, how are you doing today? Definitely would be hard for me playing with my hands out like this, Hacks. Coco, I've dumped over $600 into the finals, and I hope Arc Raiders will be my next investment. Yeah, dude, you and me both, man. You and me both. All right. Right? Anonymous Materials, old footage is all we got until we make new footage. Well, let's see here. Art, I saw someone's video yesterday where the main message was basically don't nerf hatch keys too much. I can't agree with that. Team really need to decrease the people's usage of them from 40% to like 2 to 3% max. Here's my thing. When I hear someone say don't nerf X too hard, I can't, with absolute respect on this, I cannot help but think that maybe they were having a little too much success with that particular item, and they don't want to lose that success. You know, the treadmill, man. It's the gold member. I'm not gonna stay here long, but I wanted to stop by and say hi. Hope you're having a good stream, homie. Dude, it's better now with you here. It's better now. It's my flashbang screen here. How are you doing, man? You out to go out break some ankles later today? Chloe Reed thoughts. I believe Embark has things under control. Everyone who enjoyed Tech Test 2 will buy the game, and streamers gave it massive free marketing before official promos even begin. Steam charts don't show full picture. PlayStation, Xbox players will jump into. Dude, yeah. I mean, I think Arc Raiders is going to explode. I think it's going to go absolutely buck wild. It's going to do great. I think anyone who says otherwise, I don't know. I mean, they're not looking at the full picture, right? They're not able to extrapolate, what a game could be, because I feel like there's going to be a ton of streamers playing the game because they want to play the game, not because they're getting paid to play the game, right? There'll be certain enough, there'll probably be some people who get paid to play the game, but honestly, if our Arc Raiders went out and be like, hey guys, big name streamers, our game's going to release on October 30th, have some fun. If you want to play it, go ahead and play it, but do your thing. And what's going to happen here at this point is that unless they have some other kind of contractual obligation, these large streamers are going to play that game anyways because everyone, their mother's going to want to be playing that game anyways. So, and the only way you can create that level of hype is by being a great game. Like no one's, that's what it is. I think that's what's going to happen. And in terms of I want to come back to the hatch key portion of it. It's kind of like the anvil, right? Like anyone who played the game, Tech Test, understood that the anvil was way too strong, right? Just way too strong. I understood that pretty easily. Now, did I use the anvil and really wreck some fools with it? Sure, right? But I can also be kind of do some self-awareness and be like, hey, listen, this gun's a little too strong because I'm relying on it too much, or I'm using it. It's just too much of an easy choice for me. And when that becomes a thing, you have to be able to go, all right, this gun's too strong. So for hatch keys, whenever someone says, oh, I hope they don't nerf them too hard, I'm like, to me, I think maybe you're relying on them too much to get out. That'd be my feedback at that point. I'd be like, well, how often did you use them? Because if you use them a lot, then they need to get nerfed. Just you gotta be honest with yourself. That can't be the game you decide you want to play. As a person, I wish they would buff the snap hook, increase the range. I don't think the range is the issue. I think it's how easily you can use it to zip around and be like, Arc Raiders, not Arc Raiders, like Apex Legends or something like that, getting high movement when the game just doesn't feel that way without it. I feel like it needs to be a little harder to use. I don't think the distance is really the issue, though. Titsu, I think the Embark has a problem when it comes to marketing its game. For example, Arc Raiders, we are less than 6 weeks with no news or something. Do you think it's normal not to market the game? I mean, yes and no. I think for a free game, they'd be fine just dropping it out of nowhere, like like they did the finals, or like, or the way Apex Legends was dropped out of nowhere. But this game is not free, so you're gonna have to, incentivize people to buy it. But I don't think that's a reason to kind of throw out, the red flags and being, hey, this is really in trouble. Not really. I don't think that's I don't think it's cause for concern, to be perfectly honest. Zord Void, I don't know if you already answered this, but is there going to be another episode of Alcoholics soon? We had one on Sunday. So if you haven't caught the new one, episode 11, that one's already out already. So hope you enjoy that one. If you haven't gotten a chance to see it already, we typically bring them out every 2 weeks, to help pace things out. Otherwise, we would have just run ourselves ragged by this point. But so right now we have about 3 prior to the launch, so it should be fun. And then after that, the episodes are probably going to change. And how they're going to change? Probably the way I said before, where we're going to go. We're going to go from like, all right, hypothetically speaking, the tech test, it gives us the indication of the armor is going to be like this, the skill tree is going to be like that. It's going to be like the episode right after the launch is going to be like, this game rocks. It's going to be like that for like 30 minutes. This game's amazing for like 30 minutes. It's probably going to be like that. Let's see here. Catching up. Astronimo, no B-ball today. I have a real question though. Maybe you've talked about this before, but how do you think they're going to prevent the frustration of cheaters that usually comes with the genre? Get good. I mean, that's really what it comes down to, man. Like as developers, like we've been talking about this for like an hour now, where basically how good of developer team they have in terms of their leadership and their skill in terms of optimizing Unreal Engine 5, the physics-based stuff on the finals. I think I think they're going to do a fairly good job of curving that. Obviously, it's not going to be possible to curve all of it, but I think they'll learn some things about, you know, maybe getting people's gear back to them that they've lost it during a hacker type of incident, something like that. I think that's probably how they're going to go about doing it, very similar to the cycle, but obviously, but the difference would be that they're effective. That would be the biggest difference, you know. JC, I agree. It's insanely. It also, Arc Race is fun to watch, right? It's not just fun to play; it's fun to watch. And I think content creators have a huge incentive to stream a game like that. Like people are going to be so hyped to want to watch this game that it would be dumb for them to not play the game during the peak of its popularity. And so, pay them or not pay them, they're going to play it anyways. So I know Embark is not known for being arrogant, but like to me at that point, I'm like, dude, brother, you're gonna want to play this game anyways. Why do we need to pay you for it? You know? The Trenamol, also the Anvil was insane. Yeah, I mean, the Anvil was just too good. You know, this is the win hot take. I think they should remove the snap hook altogether. It doesn't feel like it fits the game. I don't think that's really a hot take, to be honest. I've heard that plenty of times, and I can half agree with you. in the sense that like the tempo of the game did not fit the way the snap hook worked in the game during tech test did not fit the tempo of the game, right? So with that being said, it needs to get nerfed in very critical ways, in that you can't just use it to like negate fall damage, for example, right? Because you can do that. You can do like, I'm aiming at the ground, boom, I can go from third story to the bottom floor, boom, negate fall damage. Obviously, you shouldn't be able to do that. Second thing is, you shouldn't be able to like whip it out so quickly in terms of like, boom, I'm up instantly, right? Maybe you should have to like stay still for like a second before you use it, something like that. Another one is you shouldn't be able to put it in your safe pocket. There's a lot of ways you could bring that down so it doesn't disrupt the movement of the game entirely, but just kind of gives you a little bit extra, you know? Anonymous, they just need to get Anvil a horrible target acquisition that the finals revolver has. Give it a stormtrooper aim. Yeah, but you also don't want to nerf it into the ground too. Like you want to make it usable. But I get what you're saying. Like make it a much more close range weapon. You know. This is the win. I'd rather see a parachute added to jump off space. Yeah. I like Rockhound's suggestion on that one too. Art, will they open at pre-orders, or will it be more likely a Silk Song, a style launch where people can only buy the game on release day? Who knows, man? I think, honestly, man, I don't know. Like, I can think about it. Like, I could seriously believe our creators could be like, you know, we're not going to have anything to be purchasable until the day of. I can easily see them doing that. I don't want to do that. I want to throw money at them right away. But, you know, hey. For 40 bug, should the grapple be single use? Nah, I think could it be like limited uses, like ammo type thing? Sure, I can see that, but single use, I think it's too expensive for that. It needs to be valuable, worth building. Otherwise, if you make it super cheap, then you'll see it everywhere. You know. Mike Martinez, yo, right back at you, man. Welcome to the stream. Welcome to hanging out. Second Clicks. What are your thoughts on the marketing and communication from the Arc Raiders team? I've seen a lot of people worried about the launch of the game due to lack of publicity. Yeah, I think it comes from a place of passion, right? It comes for people who are worried, like, hey, they want the game to succeed, and they feel like they're not doing everything they can to make it succeed with like on the marketing side. In a lot of ways, if you were looking at it from a traditional point of view, yeah, you'd be right. They're not doing a lot. But I don't know. It's at this point you gotta trust what they're doing. It is gonna be what it is. I'm not worried about the game's success overall though, because let's say even if it doesn't have the best launch possible, because it just doesn't have enough people paying attention to it. Oh yeah, this is where I get disconnected, and then I can reconnect. But yeah, I think fast forward 3 months, the game will be going on strong still. Gibson guy, welcome to the chat, man. You didn't miss anything. We're just chitting. We're just chit chatting. We're playing. We're watching old footage of Arc Raiders, and we're chatting about the game. Goat Dog. Anybody else bothered by the term Battle Pass and Arc Raiders? Is a bit immersion breaking. Helldivers use war bonds, which really fits the style. I mean, here's the thing. I still called war bonds a Battle Pass. I don't know. But maybe I'm the wrong person to comment on that. I've kind of been known for not being the biggest person when it comes to like wanting immersion and things of that nature. Like I'm about the functional gameplay side of things. I'm way bigger more into that. So I don't know. Chat, what do you guys think? They should call it something else. I don't know. Maybe this Speranza Supply Depot. You know, the depot chain or something like that. Might be better. It'd be a small thing too. Honestly, it wouldn't even be. Just change some text on a code, man. That's all it would be too. Papa Mars, I can't wait to make my first actual YouTube video over Arc Raiders. Why wait, man? Go do some recordings. Go make. There's plenty of other games that you can practice on. I recommend. If you've never made a YouTube video, I don't recommend starting a launch. I recommend getting the practice in now. Doing is learning. Trust me. Listen, when are you worried about servers being wrecked on launch day? I'm thinking back to Helldivers. you give me hot sweats, man. Thinking about Helldivers servers on launch day, man. I'm not sure if I'm worried. I hope not. But it'd be a good problem to have, I think, right? Azoid Void, would you like it for parkour to be expanded on? I love the clips from people jumping out of window to another floor and killing the enemy. Yeah, I like that to a limit. You know, I also remember those clips of people like jumping from like spaceport tower all the way to the bottom and then like landing on the bar and then taking no fall damage. I'm pretty sure they fixed that already. I think they've commented on that before. Gibson guy, who else is grinding finals while waiting for Arc Raiders? This guy right here. That's pretty much been my go-to fun game in the meantime. 40 bug, from what I've seen, the way they work it shouldn't be Battle Pass, so I agree. Wherever Goat Dog is chatting. Yeah, just a thought. Either way, this game looks amazing. I mean, I agree. I agree. All right. Let's see here. So, quick question. We're gonna wind this down a little bit, but I don't want to do suddenly. But I want to ask you guys a question in regards to maps. I know one time we had a question on who prefers what map. I think the overwhelming majority of you guys said the dam was your guys' favorite map. So here's a question, right? What was your favorite POI? Right? Any map, right? Any map on either dam, buried city, starport. What was your favorite POI in that map? Right? In whatever map it is going to be. I'm going to think back real quick to see which one mine is, just for a second here. It's probably going to have to be See, that's hard. I got a couple I'm thinking of. A couple that I'm a fan of. Gibson guy, do you know anyone else out in the chat currently creating Arc Raiders content? Not in the chat right now, but I know Rockhound Black is my definite go-to when it comes to higher level content. He's been doing this for a long time. So I like his content a lot in regards to that. I like that Arc guy on X. He puts out a lot of funny stuff, puts a lot of memes out. He stays on top of the comings and goings of a lot of the Arc Raider stuff. So if you want up-to-date stuff, that Arc guy, so that Arc guy on X is a guy you want to follow, right? So let's be there. So those are the ones I can think of right now. I feel bad. I feel like I'm missing a couple of people, honestly. Just in the win, swamp area in the dam, chaos PvP versus arcs flying everywhere. Dude, I hated that place, man. Like the domes, it felt like it was. Oh, I think this is the part where I got a guy. We were chasing them hard. Oh, yeah, we got them there. I think there was another one. We were chasing these fools pretty hard. This is a habit I tend to do a lot, by the way. Is whenever I'm in a group, I don't tend to loot a lot because I'm paranoid. And so whenever we're looting, I'll let somebody else loot, and I'm just kind of like head on a swivel. Just head on a swivel. Scanning. But yeah, in terms of the swamp area, man, I hated those domes, man. I go into the domes. Gibson guy, all right. I gotta check you out, man. I gotta check you out. Yeah, combat in those domes sucked, right? But also, like, there were so many flying arcs that, like, if you got pinned down in one of those domes, dude, you weren't going anywhere. Those arcs would like pin you down hard. Let's see here. Second clicks. I think it would be cool if they named the battle passes similar to how the finals does it. Each battle pass could be like different clothing, store brand name with ties. Yeah, honestly, I can see different like vendors or merchants kind of having those different ways of doing it. So yeah, you don't have to call it a battle pass. But yeah, it's a fairly simple thing to change, honestly. JCZ, I love the underground subway extraction format. The way the gameplay pans out and the subway is so cool. Yeah. All right, so I gotta say, so in terms of my favorite POIs, the first one has got to be research on Dam, because guaranteed hotspot. That place was always popping. Like, you just knew. Like, you know what? I want to go shoot some fools. Go to research. Like, I don't know what it was about that place. I think it was just the way that the geography was set up and how the missions were set up. It was just always just the most dangerous spot. Gibson, are you streaming right now? Because what you call it? Because if you're streaming right now, I'll be happy just to kind of like we'll do a raid here, man. All right, Quikes, thank you so much for the sub, man. I appreciate you. Like, I didn't get any of this. I didn't get any of the notifications. Sorry, apologize. I need to work on that to get this done correct. So, all right, let's sweep this up. And so, yep. All right, let's bring that around. So yeah, to me, I think the research was probably my best. Was my favorite POI, if only just for that. But in terms of parts of the map that I like the most is probably like Starport, Arrivals. Starport Arrivals was an interesting building to fight in. Okay, okay. Car enthusiast John, is this out now? No, unfortunately, it is not. We are just chatting, watching old footage, and we're just chilling. I'm probably gonna be winding down here in a little bit. We do this every Tuesday evening. Do Arc Raiders chat. We also have a podcast every other week. Comes out on Sundays. We also have a Discord. So if you want to stay on top of things and just talk to people about Arc Raiders and be excited for the hype and be ready for when it comes out on the October 30th, we got that too. Once again, I want to thank all my channel supporters down here below, right there. Links into this. Links are if you were interested in being a supporter. If not, I enjoy your views. I enjoy you coming out, hanging out with me, and just having a chat, having a ball. But yeah, I want to be calling it from here, guys. I thank you so much for just being a part of this and just making Tuesday night fun. I'm gonna see you guys next week. Be on the lookout. I got a video coming out this weekend, and so again, otherwise, I'll see you guys in the Discord. Okay. Uh, Once again, thanks. Have a blessed rest of your day. Peace.